Hi everyone, it's Alisha Braché here at Cosmic Gateway. So very excited to bring you yet another magical cosmic conversation. And today I have joining us Donovan Gall from Canberra, so another fellow Aussie who is a number vibrationalist. And we're going to share some cool insights. So Donovan, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Divine Being. Oh, I can't stop smiling. Yeah, everyone, just soak up Alicia's smiley energy here. It just beams. It's awesome. And this is the first time we've spoken, right? So
yeah. I just want to throw that in. Like, I've been watching your work for a little bit. I don't know, maybe the last 6-12 months, whatever time, irrelevant. I don't know. And we've had a few comments back and forth and a few messages, but this is the actual time we've spoken face to face. So I thought, what a great opportunity, because when I connect with someone, I like to get to know more about them and what makes them tick and what their passions are. And like, what a better way than just to get on and record it and bring it to you guys and to talk about numbers and synchronicities and the energies vibrationally with the number and what that represents and all that beautiful stuff. So where shall we begin?
and it is beautiful stuff, because I can tell you that when I discovered numbers in this way, and I should say that I failed maths at school. I absolutely hated maths with a passion. Absolutely hated it. And then, so I'll give you a condensed idea of how I came into numbers.
Thank you. Yeah.
But the thing is, the more that I work with the magic of numbers, the more it just gets even more magical. Like, it is such a universal coded language that we're interacting with, and it's increasing on the planet now. This is why so many people, they're getting their awakening codes like 1111. They're getting their triple number sequences on the clock. It's linking with synchronicity. It's sending us on these deeper spiritual paths that we never expected numbers would do that. And it's like a whole new reality of numbers. And, I guess that's why I failed maths, because we were just being taught to look at numbers and symbols in a very linear way.
Yeah, right.
And I feel actually like what actually guided me and magnetized me to numbers was my meditation journey, actually.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So I guess just quickly, I started studying Raja Yoga, which is there's an organization called the Brahma Kumari's World Spiritual University out of India. The headquarters is Mount Abu in India, in Rajasthan. And I'm a drummer, right?
Oh, wow.
You look like you just had a synchronicity right then. No,
I'm going to Rajasthan in a few days.
Boom, there we go, right. Synchronicity number one, maybe we should record these, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I'm a drummer, and I had a session with a really, really good drummer who's a worldwide success, David Jones, and he's this amazing worldwide jazz drum mentor. He's a master, actually, and he can do things you couldn't even think were possible on the drum kit. Like he's into sound vibrations, all this stuff. So I met him, and I had one drumming session with him, and he mentioned to my parents, they got talking about this organization that had taught him about meditation and mindfulness and all this stuff. So then things just went from there, and we got introduced. We did the course with Raja Yoga, and I got introduced to meditation at right on the age where I would have been becoming the rebel, getting off the track. It was the perfect soul journey for me, right? And then, so from age 13, 14, and again, you know how we're getting into the stage where we're living so in the present moment. Memories of time, you just can't remember anything anymore.
No.
Like, I can't actually put, which is great for a numerologist, right? But I can't place a lot of memories as to exactly where they were.
Same.
Yeah, to me, that's a positive thing. That's like, right.
I agree. I totally agree.
I'm existing and living in my alignment. I'm not living in the past or the future. I'm very much here now. So So I got introduced to meditation, and it was an open eye meditation technique.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had a sort of a doctrine or a belief system about the cycles of time. It was very much linked with, the Kali, the yugas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did Raja Yoga probably for about 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And I would, in my holidays, I would go and stay with the brother. There was a brother's house and a sister's house, and I would go stay with the brother's house, and we'd be up at 4 a.m. doing an hour meditation in the morning. Then we'd do a half-hour we go to the centre. There's a centre in all capital cities, and we'd go half-hour meditation, and then we did what I now understand was a transcript of a channeling. I never really understood when I was doing Raja. I didn't really understand what that was, but it was considered by them to be the divine source being, the supreme being, speaking through the vessel, which was in the headquarters in India, and it went for a few months every year, speaking this just knowledge and wisdom that was just took. Yeah, so it's all the stuff that's now we're all having access to through all the divine channels, and we're all realizing we're all divine channels.
Mm-hmm.
We all have the ability to tap into this innate wisdom and open our energy field and interact with all the information that's available, and whatever resonates and aligns with our specific frequency is the wisdom that will come through, and everybody's unique and special and amazing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So that was my introduction. Now, how I actually came into numbers is I got off the path. I went and lived life, did all the things that you do as a young Aussie male. You went and drank beer, played in bands, smoked pot, drank too much, did the whole thing. Yeah, just the typical old soul's journey, right? To have all the experiences you need to gain all the pages in the book, in your own book of wisdom, and so I went off that, and then in 2009, I'm a horticulturist. I'm a gardener by trade.
Oh wow, cool! So many facets of your. That's so cool. That's cool.
There is, and it's good for me because grounding is one of my challenges, right? So when I'm gardening, my hands, my feet, they're in nature. My hands are in the soil. I'm around nature, 80, 90% of the time. I got 17 years into my career, and I was like, I'm going to push for better income earning capacity, right? Because gardeners don't get paid the greatest salary for what they do, in Australia anyway. And as soon as I pushed to drive my life according to wanting more money and being materially focused, a whole lot of experiences happened. So I went into the public service, into a desk job, and tried that for the first time.
Wow.
And the first thing was like, oh my God, I've got 4 walls around me, somebody get me out of here, right? It just didn't resonate with my nature part of the soul. But I managed to survive for a little while. It went really well. And then I went through a full-on bullying experience. And we moved departments, and they amalgamated. And I got a new person in charge, and she had a way about her. And it was, I'd never come across it, but having been a union delegate, I also understood how to deal with it. But amazingly, I still suffered like a trauma from it.
Right, yeah.
It was just this daily severe, as I say with PTSD, just a daily sense of high stress being in that environment. So I ended up on stress leave, and when I got off work, I was quite depressed, and I was the guy that was never going to be depressed because all my sisters have had like mental illness. We've had it all through the family, so I've always been exposed to it. I kind of understood it, and I was never going to be that guy. So I'm in this state. I'm having my what you call dark night of the soul. I'm delving within myself, going, how am I going to pick myself up? This is the lowest I've ever been. And then, lo and behold, I bump a bookshelf, and out hops a book. It was Dan Millman's book, The Life You Were Born to Live, which my very first girlfriend gave me for my birthday. I put it on the shelf, put it away, never thought about it, and bang, there it presented itself. And I'm like, I've got the time. Intriguing. So I open it up, I start reading. I could not stop reading. Everything I read about my life path number 336 just resonated so deeply with how I'd felt my entire journey, my whole life. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I start reading. So I'm getting it, and then I'm just like, I cannot get enough. But what also started to happen was, as I started to look into numerology, it was starting to marry up with all the concepts of the meditation that I'd learned and the wisdom that I'd gained from Raja Yoga. And it all started to come together, and it sent me down a road where I discovered Hay House, like Louise Hay, Dr. Wayne Dyer. I found Hay House Radio. And what happened was, when I went back to gardening, I had my earphones in my ear. I listened to Hay House Radio 24 hours a day. I was just like a sponge. I'm like, I cannot get enough of this. So then I start getting exposed to all this new, amazing information, everything from, holistic health to brain restructuring through meditation, and unconditional love, and, and energetic, the energy bodies and how to use energy, and the chakras, just everything possible, and near-death experiences and dreams and astrology and everything. So, of course, I was like a kid in the playground. But like all of us, in my unique vibrational blueprint, in my numbers, it's very, very on path for me to be attracted to numbers, because the 3 energy is about self-expression and communication. And just simply because I got so involved with the numbers, I started telling other people about it, and then people are going, "Wow, that's amazing!" And I couldn't stop doing people's. Everywhere I went, I'm like, "Give me your numbers, give me your birthday. I need to know." So I was just like using my family and my friends to just learn the numbers 1 to 9, the life path numbers, as best as I could. But then in the last few years, it's just gone to a whole nother level, because in 2009, which I guess I would deem my awakening year, which equals 11, by the way. That was the lead up to the 2012 shift, and everything I was learning and being exposed to just started to brew this, I started to take my meditation more seriously. I made it a daily practice, and I started getting messages through meditation. And I was getting amazing things, like I would meditate and I would get a sequence of numbers.
Love that.
And then what would happen was, and just the way the process worked for me, because it's all different for all of us, I would get out of the meditation and I would be like, well, I'd write down what I got, all the symbols, all the messages, all the, visions that I got or whatever. And one of the ones that I got was this, it looked like a GPS coordinate. So I wrote it down, and I went into Google Earth, and I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. So I looked it up, and it took me to an area near Iraq and Iran. It was in the Middle East. And then it took me down this road where I looked at some of the history of that particular spot. And I ended up finding all about this golden vault and all the ancient, seriously, like this golden vault connected to Saint Germain, and this abundance that was put aside for light workers. And I'm just getting more and more mind, but it gets better. It gets way better. Because the next thing that happens, I'm like, hang on, but it doesn't quite feel right. That's amazing, but there's more to this. Because some of the other signs that I got in my other meditations married up with this, I decided to look at the GPS coordinates in the sky. So I put in the GPS coordinates. I know, I'm getting chills talking about it. I still love telling the story because I always get chills. I put the coordinates into like a Google space or whatever that program. And it took me to a constellation. I had 2 experiences like this, 2 lots of GPS coordinates. The first time it took me to one called Monoceros, which means one horse. Mono means one, Ceros meaning horse. I looked into the meaning of the constellation, and it was talking about like the unicorn, right? And it was just like, oh my God. And I'd just literally been talking to people about unicorns and how, so you know how it works, right? It just goes boom, 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 gets momentum. The more you're in alignment, the more happy and excited you get, the more you get of it. And it's just awesome. And the second one that I got took me to Taurus, because I was given the word Aldebaran, and I'm like, what's an Aldebaran? So I get in, I research Aldebaran, I find out that it's the brightest star in Taurus. I start reading up about it, and then next thing I discover Pleiades. And then I start getting all these YouTube videos and things coming to me all the time about Pleiades, and I'm like, Pleiades. I discover Barbara Marciniak, you know, I discover Cryon, and then away it went. And now what that's actually done with the numerology, rather than I've unlocked something where I've developed this ability to see more vibrationally and energetically the numbers. I've got the foundation of numerology, which is I kind of needed in order, But what it's done is it's taken it to another frequency again.
Thank you for saying that, because I was going to say what drew me to your page initially was because, you know, I have always had a curiosity in numerology and the numbers, but the fact that it had vibration in it, I was like, oh, this dude's like, sorry, you're taking it to the whole next level. And to hear that story, that just validates everything I felt. So sorry, I won't interrupt anymore.
So, and that's what I'm finding, where I'm finding my tribe, because I've aligned with my unique energetic blueprint and frequency, because we're like radio stations, right? Putting out a frequency, which is also magnetizing to us frequencies that are in alignment. This is how you find your divine partner, right? That's a whole nother conversation. But what happened to me was through this daily meditation, getting my frequency aligned, getting into my perfect state of alignment, I started to look at numbers and start to see, start to feel. I could feel the message. And at first I was kind of like most light workers, right? I'm like, oh, don't be stupid. You're just making this up, you know. And I got really linear about it. But the more I did it, the more I kept getting confirmation, and the more I would start to talk to certain people that I could, you know, that I aligned with, that were on a similar energetic frequency, the more they're just like, oh my God, like, you're blowing me away. You know, I just told you I got, you know, the time, and you've just given me this whole message about what's going on in my life right now, you know? And that's when I knew I was on the right track. So I just kept developing. And now it's just exploding in a way that I can't describe, because I've finally stepped into my self-worth in the past year. And we all went through, and we've all been through that journey, especially when we want to put ourselves out there. All the fear comes up, all the self-doubt comes up, everything within you that you need to bring to the surface to heal, to be fully aligned and on your path, comes up for healing. And last year was the big thing. 2018 was a very, very big year of a collective healing and cleansing. And in order to move into the frequency of 2019, which has so much support for anyone that's on this path to have their success, to get out and express their message. So it's no mistake to me that I'm in a 4-personal year this year. Last year I was in a 3-personal year, which is, okay, this year we're in a 3 universal year. Okay, 2019, 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9 equals 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. A 3 universal year. Self-expression, communication, getting your message out, you know, expressing to the world what's in your heart, what's in your soul. And with that comes all the abundance, and comes the connection, because you're in alignment with your mission and what you came here to be and to do and to expand into the world. I thought that was all going to happen for me last year, right? Because I'm a 33 in a 3-person year. I'm like, this is my year. This is going to be it. And it didn't matter what I did. it was so interesting to me that I'm like, but I'm ready. The whole year I kept saying, but I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I've got the knowledge. I've got enough confidence now. But then it didn't matter what I did. I could not go. I couldn't launch. So there was a frequency within me saying, no, you've got some cleansing and clearing to do.
Yeah.
So my marriage ended early in the year. Then 2 months later, after putting out an intention to the universe, this divine partner just turns up. And so many synchronicities, like ridiculous how that actually took place. And this is what I was saying about how you can attract your divine partners. When you work on your own frequency and alignment,
Thank you.
get your own divine masculine and feminine aspects fully balanced, you're sending out a frequency, and it's like the field of all potential picks up a radio station in the form of another soul and goes, right, here you go. You guys have a cohesion in your frequency. You belong together.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and so the way that actually unfolded was just absolutely unbelievable, because I put out the intention, I forgot about it, got on with my work, continued with the page and the group, just doing what I do, you know, helping people. I was admin on the 1111 movement earlier the year before, and that was playing out. So I got exposed to more people around the world. I started to have conversations about numbers and frequency and vibration and meditation. And I just got exposed to so many new aspects by being admin on that.
Yeah, awesome.
Very, very large group, which is now about 156,000 members.
It's massive.
It's massive, which I've left the admin team now and I'm doing other things. But it was like I was in like university doing a degree.
Yeah, right.
Because I thought, wow, I'm ready. I've got this. And then all of a sudden, bang, it took me to another level again. Another up.
Yep. Whoop, whoop.
That was the frequency of 2018. Was very much like we all went through this like upgrade, and then again, I've got to transform again. I'm transforming again. It was like, how many times do I have to go through transformation? Because we are literally being upgraded to such a high frequency now as vessels of this divine source, because we're holding this energy for the collective to ascend. The whole
plan.
The vibration of the planet and our solar system, everything, right?
Yeah.
So I got to the stage where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. But then she walks into my life through synchronicity. We both booked on an online 8-day course. The lady running the course had a conversation with her in Taiwan. I had a conversation with Tanya K. Villar, who's a great channel, and she's been really instrumental in a lot of my learnings as well. She had a conversation with me. Next thing she says, I was talking to this lady in Taiwan. 2 days before that, my phone bumped itself, and up came profile, because I was on the 1111 movement. Up comes this profile, and it's this woman in Taiwan, and I'm like, that never happens.
Oh, it's chills when you said that.
I start having a little bit of a look, and next thing you know, I've spent 10 minutes, and I never did this, right? I only looked at people if they were trolls on the group or we thought they were fake trolls. Never, you know, but I'm just like, I'm all right. So I start having a look, and I'm like, okay, yeah, right. I'm getting I'm like, God, you're intriguing. 2 days later, Tanya tells me, I've had this conversation with this lady in Taiwan. She's talking about how she's feeling this frequency of Australia and she's feeling drawn to it. I then tell her, I know this guy I've just met from Australia. He's on the 1111 movement. She says, well, I just recently joined the 1111 movement. She then realizes that I made a comment on one of her comments. Anyway, so I put away this idea. I get on with everything. But for 2 days, I'm like, that lady in Taiwan that Tanya was talking, that lady on the phone, she was from Taiwan. I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, okay, it was bugging me for 2 days. I'm going to send her a message and just say, hi Mulan, I'm Donovan. I'm an admin on the 1111 movement. Pleased to meet you. Hope you're enjoying the group. As I went to press send, blip, up pops a message. Hi Donovan, I'm Mulan. I'm in Taiwan. Pleased to meet you. And
Oh,
Absolutely unbelievable. And then, of course, we start talking, and we never stopped talking and communicating. And we've now been in a 10.5 month relationship,
oh,
and just recently came together in Thailand the week before Christmas, and it was absolutely magical beyond belief.
magical. Yeah, I can feel that. And thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for sharing that, because I noticed like the subtleties, and like I had noticed your energy. I think you did some lives or some videos like going back last year, and then all of a sudden your video popped up, and I was like, wow, your energy has drastically shifted, because I could see this emanating light coming from you, and I'm like, oh yeah, divine partnership will do that.
Yes, it will, because it's an amplifier. I mean, literally, just to quickly tell you that the experience that we had in finally coming together after energetically being so connected, and it's just ridiculous, the connections of the synchronicities between who we are. Like, we're both born 76, and then we're both born in the year of the dragon, and at the moment we're getting in meditation, we're getting all this dragon energy coming in, and we're always working together. And ever since day dot in coming together, it's like the textbook kind of divine union thing that you read about, where we feel like we've got a mission.
Yeah.
And we create together. So things like, we wrote a play. She's a school teacher in Taiwan. We wrote a kids play for the end of year performance for her school, and it was literally like a channeled story that we had after meditating together one night, and we just started getting really creative, and we created this thing together, and it was about the journey of a panda who goes on his journey to enlightenment, and then so it's creating this beautiful entity that then becomes the play, that then is, of course, affecting the parents of the children in Taiwan, and getting all these messages of the teachings of the ascended masters, which we had
embedded in it. Yeah.
Embedded in it. So our ripple effect started to begin, and now we're working together, because she has some very, very powerful channelings come through. So we're now starting to work together that way, and getting all these messages for the collective, right?
How amazing.
And it's just unfolding every day. It's more and more magical. But in Thailand, when we physically finally came together, we literally had an experience of heaven on earth. And we both, it took us a couple of days to integrate and understand. When we got home and looking back on it, we're like, we were in like another dimension.
Completely, yeah.
Completely. And when we were there, we had an experience where we had so much silent time with the two of us. We tried to talk, but we could not communicate. Like, we couldn't talk. There was no way I could have done this, because we were in such a high frequency together. There was this like amazing energy of just pure peace and pure, complete alignment. And then obviously the synchronicities were just off the scale, because what we did was we turned up, we only planned the first night, and then we made no plans. We're like, we're going to go with the flow.
Yeah, nice.
Everything that we need will come to us. And she's a magician, She was born with this ability to see through the illusion of reality, and to interact with the magic that she can create by moving energy around. And she's always just she's a soul that understands her alignment. And so everywhere we want, where the right thing would come, the perfect, just everything. Just perfect. We were under the full moon in Cancer. We were together on the solstice the night before. And it was just magical. And we had many, many moments where we were literally just sitting there, just in complete, just tears, just streaming down our cheeks, being with it, just fully being in this experience. And for people that are wanting to attract their divine partner, what I like to try to explain, there's a lot out there going, how do I do this?
I think this is really great, because we've kind of we've gone off numbers and we've gone on this, and maybe that's where we need to go, because I think you and I have a similar kind of analogy around the simplicity of the recipe, I guess. You know.
Exactly, yeah. But what's so, I guess, important I like to get across to people is Mulan and I, on two separate sides of the planet. She was born in Chile,
Oh
right?
wow.
On two separate sides of the planet, and she moved to Taiwan when she was 20. On separate sides of the planet, we were both working the same thing. She was listening to Abraham Hicks all the time, and I had discovered that and was listening to that all the time. I was doing all this stuff with Hay House, whatever. She was working on her own alignment. She was working on her own inner journey. She was meditating. She was doing everything I was doing. So you see how there's just no mistake that, you know, when the time was divine, the divine timing was in alignment, our frequencies matched.
Yeah.
There's nothing but that can happen for you. It must, because it's this universal law of synchronicity, you know?
I have a really good, I have a theory that, you know, I work on a lot of theories through all the people that I see in the different sessions, and then I start to, you know, piece the puzzles together. And one of my recent theories is that, you know, when we're talking about twin flames, you know, whatever name, but divine partnership is the term I prefer. And I look at the different generations and the different stages and the different people's experiences. And I kept saying, you know, I truly believe that, you know, there are some that have like kind of walked the traditional twin journey that has to go through that ascension process. And I think there's these other people out there who go on that spiritual journey themselves. And when they reach that full alignment, they don't have to go through the BS.
Right.
Would you agree with that? Because that kind of, from what you're telling me, that kind of sounds like that's been your path.
I absolutely agree. Not to say that so last year, right, we were also, because we were so connected to the collective energies, and you know how potent they were, you know, with all these eclipses and astrological alignments and the Schumann resonance, the highest ever peaked, and we're transforming and we're in touch with a new frequency on the planet collectively. And because her and I both amplify that when we're together, we went through all the stuff came up. So when we met, that was like, okay, now it's begun. Right?
Okay, right, yeah.
And now it's begun.
Showtime.
So I certainly can't say that it's just been this smooth, rosy, magical. No, because the whole point that we understand is, you know, this coming together is as we work through individually within ourselves, and we potently activate that within each other, we're also healing for the collective.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Yeah.
We're divine vessels for the same, well, that's what we are. So we understand, and this was our experience in Thailand, like this love that we were sharing. We had moments where we're like, we feel like we're doing this for everybody.
Yeah.
We feel connected, because in that, it was so magical in that kind of fifth dimensional state where you're experiencing heaven from this reality of heaven on earth. You are, you know, you're emanating a vibration that's connected to everything in existence. So you've got that feeling. You and I coming together this way is we're doing it for the collective. And I don't know if you've heard that before, but
yeah,
you know.
I quite often get the analogy in a lot of my sessions is that, you know, we come in with a specific template energetically that's made up of all different components, and we're kind of almost contracted, if you will, to shift and clear certain things, whether it's poverty consciousness or whatever, and then that will come into our experience. We shift it, but we're shifting a little bit I get chills when I say, in the collective field, and that's how we're all working together through our own journey, our own inner process, but it's shifting the collective at the same time. And when you've got so many people on the planet going through such intense awakenings and twin journeys and all that stuff, like it's on steroids basically, you know.
Absolutely. And all I can say is it is the most, I feel like the most blessed soul ever in existence to be blessed with this experience. Yet we both understand, because we both feel that way, we both also understand that we chose this.
Yes.
You know, we did choose this. We feel the agreement that we made in, I mean, ancient lifetimes together.
All the way back.
Right. And it's just, it really is just another, and what I love about it is it's creational, right? How we create together, and we both have that mission, that drive energy that we want to help the collective shift. We want to be a part of the ascension process of the entire planet. And then we get all the messages, the ones that we share together just constantly, with Atlantis coming and dragons, and, the numbers that we get will relate. Like for instance, when we were in Thailand, we were getting 69 and 96, right? Particularly 69 first. I was feeling into the 69. I could feel, the message of 69. It's a 6 and a 9. So 6 is, typically in numerology, 6 is love. It's family, it's birthing, it's the pregnant woman.
Yeah.
If you look at the 6, right, it's the womb. It's taking responsibility. It's not being overly perfectionistic. In other words, there's a lot about full self acceptance.
Yeah.
And then the 9 is higher wisdom. The 9 is completion. 9 is endings, letting go of what no longer serves in order to move into your next higher frequency or most potent self. That's the numerology side of it. But then on a vibrational level, under the experience, and I encourage people to do this if they're getting number synchronicity.
Thank you. Yeah, it's walked straight into where I was going to drive the conversation, is like, numbers are such a bigger part of awakening. It was part of my experience too. And I thought maybe we could break down just a general overview, because I know, like, for me personally, I had a little bit of basis of numerology from like a teenager, because it was an interest of mine. So I had the basics down pat. But when I hit my like full blown kind of Kundalini, numbers were literally talking to me 24/7, and I was encoding like Morse code, and I understood it because I had a little bit of a foundation, a bit like your journey that you explained.
Exactly, and also because you've developed your abilities for tapping into your intuition.
Yeah.
And this is the most important message I like to get out for people when they're getting the number synchronicities. In the moment you get them, it's the opportunity to really stop, go within, and tap in with yourself. Where's my alignment? What's most dominant in my vibration right now? You will find that the message of the numbers will come.
Yes, agree.
And keep developing your intuition and all the gifts that you have within you, all these divine gifts of intuition and sight and seeing and hearing and smelling and all the clairs that we all have. Just employ whatever you've currently developed to that point, and let the numbers actually infiltrate you. And don't not trust yourself. That's the most important thing, because yes, you can go research and look up the numbers everywhere.
Yeah.
But the message is vibrationally, it's come to you magnetically for a reason, because that's what was in your frequency, and it's specific to you. Right? So someone will get 444, and then an hour later, someone else will contact me and say, Donovan, I got 444, and I can feel the message is slightly different from one soul to the other by tapping into their energy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for one person, it might be more an angelic frequency, and it's the 444, the angels are with you, they're talking to you, you are fully supported. And then the other person, I can feel, no, it's more of because 4 is the Gaia number. It's grounding as well, right? It is setting solid foundations for the future. It's also about hard work and putting in the effort, right? 2 very different frequencies, same number.
Yes.
Right? For that person, it might be, okay, I'm feeling that you need to be a little more practical about what you're trying to build for yourself, and employ some discipline to create what you're trying to create for yourself. And then the next person comes along an hour later, 444, and I feel more of the 12 frequency, because 3 4s is 12.
Right. Yeah.
So now, and it's usually when I'm coming into the presence of a being like yourself, it's interesting. I'm starting to see a pattern where people that are resonating at a very high frequency, I find less often that I'm reducing the number.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm staying with the full vibration frequency of the number, or only half reducing the number, because it gives a slightly different vibration. Right?
That's so interesting that you say that, because it's kind of brought my attention to the fact that for such a long period of time I was adding them and getting the single digit for my own message, and I don't do that anymore. I haven't done that for years. So that, you know, that
yeah. So, and I'll give you an example in a minute, which will be a fun example. But so then I'll get the 12 and I'll be like, right, okay, I'm feeling the 12 and I'm feeling the 3, because 1 + 2 is 3, right? So I'm starting to. So again, I really want that message out there that, you know, get to know your numbers 1 to 9, right? Yeah. I mean, I could sit here and go through that but there's so much available. You know, it's all at our fingertips. We can all do that.
Exactly.
You know, and this year I will be writing a nice short course on the basic numerology, which I've been offered by Andrea Cutlin over on A Gift from Gaia. She's another amazing high frequency emanation of light and amazingness like yourself, right? So then what I wanted to say was, develop your intuition, trust what you're getting in the first 3 seconds that you get the numbers. Mm-hmm. Take a breath, find your alignment, and use it, you know, as an excuse to go within.
Yeah.
You know, and through that, and remind yourself that, you know, I am love, I am gratitude, and I'm grateful for this message. And you'll be amazed what comes to you. You know, people will not believe it until they start to experience it, and then the more you experience it, the more the universal language will speak to you.
And that's such a great point, because I know that you mentioned earlier about, you know, in the earlier stages of not really trusting, and like, oh, you know, and I'm a big believer that trusting comes with the experiment, like the experiential, you know, practices and foundations. And the more we experience, the more we believe, and we get less out of our head and the concepts and what we've been taught, and we're actually living through our own experience. So, you know, perfectly summed up, like, you know, put it into practice. Oh, it's 444. You know?
That is so that. We should take a breath. We should do that. Perfect. I mean, this is you know, there it is right there. So that, you know, that's the evidence, and I'm sure you know, your listenership, they're all going to understand this, because they're all getting it.
Exactly.
Anyone who's on your group is already been working on their full integration and alignment. You know, so we're in a tribe of aligned beings here. So we're all
we're in good company.
Yeah, and I was also thinking, and we love you all.
Yeah, we love you all.
And the other thing is that the more you get your personal synchronicities, the more that we're starting to, on the planet, interact with a collective synchronicity.
Yes.
So, you know, and again, it's about this, you know, the vibrational frequency of the collective. If the more that are starting to come into alignment, we literally are changing the environment, the planet, through this creational exercise of our alignment and emanating this vibration. It is changing everything, and it does affect the weather, and it does affect how we experience the astrological alignments, you know. And this is a big message for 2019, to be very, very careful what you're voicing into the ether, into the field of all potential possibilities, because what you speak, it's vibration, it's frequency, it's creational. We are creating it.
Yeah.
Right? Because what I say is a sound wave. That sound wave is picked up by the ear. It is now one step closer to manifesting into a physical form as sound. right? One step closer. So we have to understand we are literally creators, you know, and if we're in a state of alignment, we find our alignment, then we speak. We find our alignment, then we communicate, then we interact.
Yeah.
You know, we're not coming from our triggers. We're not coming from autopilot. We're coming from a creational space of being completely in alignment as a master of my own creation, my own energy and vibration. Then it stands to reason what I say is going to manifest. And another little example with Mulan, right? Every single time we have a conversation, and I mean every time, 3 or 4 or 5 things that we talk about, the minute we get off the phone and within the next 12, 24 hours, almost every time, those things will, in one form or another, instant manifestation.
Boom, boom, boom. Absolutely.
Right? And this is what we're experiencing now, and particularly under the frequencies of this year. We all have this ability for instant manifestation, and it started last year, and we all started to notice that, right?
Yeah.
And it's starting to pull us into this very, very strong alignment to say, look, I'm reminding you, you are the magician, right? You have the cups, pentacles, swords, and wands, all your spiritual gifts, right? Earth, air, fire, water, it's all within you. You're all of it. Everything that you interact with is interacting with you. So therefore, anything you say has the ability to manifest. So the big lesson of this year is going to be remembering that every time I speak, I am having the ability, or I am the ability that it is manifesting what I'm putting out into into the ether. So
it's such an interesting point that you bring up, because I've noticed that being in the vibration of this year is that I'm reflecting more before I speak, you know, and where I would have jumped the gun usually because I can get like fiery and blah, you know, I'm actually going inward and not doing that. And another point that I want to share, and I know I talk about this often, but the way that I see moving out of 3 into 5D, and that what I call the 4D or the transition phase, the rainbow bridge, you know, all of that good stuff, you know, really is that, you know, we all hit those hard points and go through the dark night for a purpose, because when you're embodying fifth dimensional energy and consciousness, it is instant manifestation. So if you're instantly manifesting with all these projections and programming and stuff that's not service to yourself or the people around you, that's a disaster, you know. So years of purging is necessary.
Absolutely, and this is the portal that we're stepping through now with this, you know, balancing of this divine feminine energy coming up with the divine masculine energies within ourselves first, and then without. I always say it because, you know, we don't want people to misunderstand that, you know, it's not about out there. It all starts in here first, and then, you know, again, a manifestation of what you are and what you're emanating. We're stepping through this portal now where we're anchoring more light, and, you know, it's like the energy is changing from the one that was in front of every year. And I kind of got this wrong in my last live. I was talking about the 1900s, which was only 100 years, but the one in front of every year from the year 1000 is the energy we've been under, right?
Yes.
In the year 2000, we moved into a brand new frequency. It was always going to go this way. But we're stuck with the 19 of 2019. We're having a little revisit of a frequency that's going to come up, and it's going to say, you know, the old paradigm thinking, the old paradigm way of, you know, materialism and density, you know, are we ready to let go of it fully in order to step into the next frequency that's available? Because the 2 is all about intuition. It is the most intuitive number, and, you know, and it's that more feminine energy, and we're balancing. So there's going to be a bit of this going on for a while. It's a wave. It's coming up within us. But have you noticed every time you go through something tough, it's not lasting as long?
Correct. We're moving through things so quickly, and I've been saying this for a while. Like, what would sometimes I would dwell on or go through, which could take months, weeks, sometimes now hours, and it's like transmuted, like boom, boom. And I think that's just our transmuting muscles that we've been building.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, last year was all about integration. So all those years of this cognitive, taking in spiritual knowledge, right, wherever I could get it, it was going in, it was going in, it was going in. And you mentioned that you saw me some time ago when I was sort of, speaking, expressing. Last year was such a speeding up of full integration rather than just cognitive understanding, and this is why, again, I'm always encouraging meditation, because it's through meditation for me. I mean, we all do it differently. Some people just walking in nature can have that experience, and that fully integrates everything, but because it's the peace and connects them with their inner nature. But last year was such a full integration of these energies that are coming to us, and we're literally starting to upgrade the physical density of the body to hold more light. And that's taking us to the frequency of that kind of 5D, frequency. It's like, it's no longer good enough to be able to just cognitively speak to people, because it's not touching people where they need to be touched, in the heart, in the energy centers. If you're in alignment when you speak, you will have a co-creative energy where you will pull them into alignment.
Correct.
And that's what you're saying is, like, we're finding that we're able to still ourselves more before we react. Because we've learned the self-mastery, and we're integrating the self-mastery now, where we go, I get to make a choice in this moment. I've just had a stimuli, and this is where we're magical creators, where we slow time down. There's no sense of time, because it can come in, and then we see the stimuli, and then we go, with everything that we're now fully integrated, we go, I get to make a choice how I'm going to react.
Yeah, right.
I've stepped into the driver's seat now.
Yes, the higher self anchoring in, driving.
Yeah. So last year was just so much integration. So that's why we had to go like this, And it was just a beautiful way. Hopefully by the end of this year, we've got a nice spinning yin-yang chakra on the collective, just,
Woohoo!
And we're getting a lot of help from Pleiadian. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I thought was fun, when you invited me to have this meeting with you, right? And I'll just explain to people how you can just go and get to know your numbers 1 to 9, because it'll help you with decoding your own synchronicities and messages. It's good to have that. Once you get to know them, you can get given a number, and you can start to feel and receive a story. So when you invited me to this meeting on Zoom, the meeting number was 971-025-313. Right? Now that's a big number, right? And it's kind of like, oh my God, get all up in your head, like, oh, what does 9 mean? What does 7 mean? What does 1 mean? And you'd sit there, it would probably take you two hours to decode that, right? But if you slow it down and you've got the basics of the numbers 1 to 9, and you understand the vibrations and the feel, I'll just do it with you now, right? Just looking at the numbers.
Yeah, let's do that.
But the first thing is, notice what you notice. Be the observer. I got pulled to the 313, which is the last 3 numbers, okay? Yeah. And the reason I get pulled to that is because I'm a 33 life path. It's in alignment with my vibration. I will always get pulled to that, right? And then, I'll do the message. So 313 is, again, telling me 3-1 is me in alignment, standing there in alignment with 2 people. So it represents this meeting.
I love that.
313. Right. So it's in the code of the meeting. So numbers are always talking to us and interacting with us. So the 313 is a representation of you and I having this conversation, right? But then if I do the full number, so we go 971025313, right? How's our internet? Are we good?
I was just about to say I don't know why. I think we're good now. And I was getting ready to pause it because I don't know what's going on, but keep going. And then I think we'll look at closing out.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Sure. So what I would sit here and I go, right, I've got this number 971025313. So basically in a vibrational story, tapping into it, right? So it's just saying through higher wisdom and letting go of the past and letting go of our baggage, we're stepping into a spiritual journey, which is getting to know the self and how the self interacts with the all, the 0 point, right? The stillness and the field of all potentials, which is creating a relationship that's bringing change, the 5, bringing change, right? That is now expressing itself out into the world. And that relationship with self and with all is now changing and expressing outwardly, creating the new frequency. Wow. So that, that's the language. And we're starting to realize that, and it's happening everywhere. It's not just with numerology. Every system is a little limited in some way. We're realizing that all these systems have extra vibrational information that we're unlocking all the time.
Just as you were reading that, I could feel that going straight into my heart space. Yeah. It was like pulsating. So, yeah. Awesome. Wow.
That's why I say to people, the more I learn, the less I know, you know. Every day something new unlocks, like the download I got with go check the tarot numbers and then marry up them.
I loved that. We'll have to, I would love to do like another segment because I think we could talk for like really good quality content for hours. But I was really, I really loved, I think you and I kind of have the same kind of frequency in the sense that I'd love that when you were talking about that. I'm like, oh, I want to discuss that more and dive in deeper. So that's, for sure. That's so cool.
Yeah. And it's amazing how when we do have this, listen to our messages, how much things are given to you, like from the divine, these divine inspirations, right? They're dropping in on you and things are creating themselves even, right? So like I get guided, go and look at the tarot, marry up the numbers, and now all of a sudden I've got a new product that I never would have dreamt. I couldn't make it up if I tried. Like
exactly.
So now I've got this tarot numerology blueprint, which I can offer as a reading, which is like, and I've got all this other stuff. I'm like, that was like a divine gift. It was just given to me, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. So, yeah.
And I love that, and I think one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on here is because I love that when people find their thing, and generally their thing, for people who are starting out or pondering or whatever, your thing is built upon every experience that you've had to get to the point where you fully trust yourself and what's coming through and explore that, and then you get given that gift.
And as my divine, beautiful partner would say, always more, always. She's like, more and more. And I'm like, yes, more and more and more. And this is how awesome and lucky we are to be here now at this time on the planet.
I couldn't agree more, yeah.
Just so magical.
So magic. Yeah, magical. So I will put in the description box below, anyone who has really enjoyed our conversation, your details to your Facebook page, your business page, and and links to how they can book a session with you, and all that good stuff, just so it's easy accessible. But did you want to just tell us a little bit about that and what people could expect if they wanted to connect with you, or the best way to?
As I mentioned, I'm really just like literally since we clicked over to the first and that 3 frequency kicked, I'm like, it's go time. So that, yeah. And it just started with a Facebook Live, and I just had to express. And now, ever since then, it's just it's weird. It's like the likes on the page are just, you know, it's just happening, and there's no efforting. There's no efforting. So basically, everyone can just find me. Just send me a private message on Facebook.
Too easy.
I don't have Messenger set up on my Facebook page because I've had a lot of trouble with that. I prefer actual Messenger.
Yep.
That's the number one. That's where I spend most of my time. Also, because I can send voices, and I like to speak vibrationally with people and hear them vibrationally. That's my favorite thing, of the little voices, right? And I've got WhatsApp too. They can find me on WhatsApp. But yeah, if they just send me a message on Messenger and say, "Hey, look, what are you interested in?" I can offer a full, complete numerology reading, which is massive, and I mean it, right? It tells you about your life path, your heart's desire, your destiny number, your personality number, the cycles of time through your life. I can see when things have happened at particular marker points in your life, and can see some very pivotal marker points coming up in the future. All the things that you would normally expect from a numerology reading, right? And then I do a little bit of stuff about the emotions, the mental plane, the emotional plane, the physical plane, and the spiritual plane, all from the numbers. Then I might insert some extra stuff that just comes to me intuitive, right? So there's that. So they could just tell me where they're at, what they most require, and I will tailor whatever I need to do, whether it be the tarot numerology blueprint, or they just want a card reading, or they just want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, or they just want to have a conversation talking about their synchronicities. You know, I love nothing more. This is my thing. This is what I came here to do. So, and thank you so much, you beautiful soul.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough. It's just been such a pleasure and an honor to have this cosmic conversation, to connect with you finally. My sense is that we'll do some more collaboration in the future and have some more conversations when the divine timing aligns, perhaps when I get back from India. And yeah, just thank you so much. And to everyone, thank you for watching on the replay. I hope you enjoy. I hope you've learnt something new and connect with another soul brother who's we're both down under, two Aussies. How about that? So thank you again, everyone, and we will definitely connect with you soon.
Gratitude.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.